All right, Rafe, are you ready for this week's E-Memoriam?
I think so.
I think St. Louis is ready for it. Let's go.
All right, St. Louis, this week's E-Memoriam, brought to you by Hughes Funeral Alternatives. Discover acclimation, the natural, gentle, eco-friendly alternative to fire-based cremation. And I appreciate them coming on as a sponsor of the E-Memoriam, which for those of you who may be unfamiliar, the E-Memoriam is a little tribute segment similar to the end of the Oscars that we do for people we've lost this week, whether it be through something we said or did or something they imagined or some perceived slight that they felt like they needed to email us about or send a message or call the station and leave a long, rambling, pretty sure drunk voicemail. Whatever it is, if we lose you, we want to honor you on the way out. So, kick it off. First this week, Babe Ruth butt babies.
Oh, no.
I angered some old-school baseball aficionados when I made an offhanded comment that Babe Ruth wasn't the amazing ball player that we all pretend he was, and that if he was in the Hall of Fame, then McGuire and Bonds most certainly belong there. Lots of emails kissing the Babe's rosy red bambino came in. I will admit that he was the greatest player of his time, but let's take a look at his time. Babe Ruth was a fat old drunk who hit homers off scorching 70-mile-per-hour fastballs thrown by pitchers who were shoe salesmen in the offseason. These same pitchers started every other day and threw all 9 innings of a game, after being traded to the team they were on for a washing machine and $20 in U.S. war bonds. Full disclosure, I love the St. Louis Cardinals, but have you ever looked at a picture of the Gas House Gang? They look like a group of emaciated farmers who barely survived the Dust Bowl, and they were the best players in the league. Not to mention the Babe played at a time before black or Latin players were even allowed to participate. And when you add all that up, in totality, what deserves a bigger asterisk than that? A little steroids, please. Look at all this information. I don't even care if McGuire, Clemens, and Bonds get in the Hall of Fame. In fact, I think they should build a second building in Cooperstown 3 times bigger than the current Hall of Fame in the shape of a goddamn asterisk, and put a juice bar right up front. So if this is where you leave us, I hope you're going, gone. Next up, younger sibling simps.
Oh, no.
One emailer, Baby Bo, sent an email protesting that we, as a room full of primarily older siblings, let the second-borns and third-borns know that we were the test kids who broke down barriers for them, and it hurt his feelings. Big surprise. He sent me an email, and I quote, just wanted to let you know you were way off base on the child order and how they're treated. Firstborns get everything and are treated like special little angels who can do no wrong. Aw. I was the third born. Yes, Bo, he's here in studio. I was third born, and I went to every single one of my older siblings' birthdays and sporting events. By the time it was my turn to do that stuff, it was old news. No birthday parties at all, and all I had to carpool to my own sporting events because no one from my family wanted to go. So it goes both ways. My older siblings were treated like the most important people in the family, and I was barely a member. They got dinner every night and special school clothes, and I was expected to feed and clothe myself. Bo. Oh, Bo. Really, Bo? Yeah, let's give Bo a bottle. Really? Let me tell you something, Bo. I'm the firstborn with 2 baby brothers, and I was constant free child care, housekeeping, and lawn maintenance for the later born who played video games, ate pizza rolls, watched Eureka's Castle, and held my summers hostage my entire adolescence. I find it hard to believe that dinner was prepared for your older siblings and not you. Did they make you sit in the corner and eat gruel like a little Oliver Twist, Bo? Did they feed your older siblings grapes and figs while they lounged about on a Chase lounge? Did they make you shine shoes downtown to buy your own clothes and hunt possums at night to keep your little belly full? Typical baby of the family, Bo. Whining and crying while parents left you alone to be autonomous human and do whatever you wanted because us, the older siblings, we paved your way in blood. You're welcome, Bo. But keep on crying on your way out the door. Up next, homeschool homie defenders. Yikes. We upset a few of you yesterday when we questioned the level of education that some, not all, homeschooled kids may be getting. Mostly from parents who took their child out of school and transformed into overzealous academic drill sergeants. My little Herbert is 5 years old, and he just read War and Peace and built a model of the Eiffel Tower from toothpicks. Well, good for Herbie. But does he know how to interact with a real human being who isn't a marionette he whittled out of homemade soap from your online Etsy store?
Good question.
That he's hoping to make real with his next birthday wish so they can grow up and get married someday? Homeschooling is like building a ship in a bottle. It's intricate, impressive, and entirely outside the skill set of most people who try it. Hey, we love dedication, but let's not pretend every parent is cut out for the job. And if this is where you leave us, well, then good luck listening to your home radio program. Captain Caveman Cucks. Well, one guy got super mad that when I was asked about the first thing I ever thought about, I said I thought about the first caveman with a wolf puppy was slaying all that cave lady punani.
Right.
I don't know why this would upset someone, but they said that they felt like I was promoting polygamy. Weird take, dude.
I don't know where those dots connect.
It was
but
just
okay.
Rhonda.
We were just talking about Rhonda, the cave lady next door who hadn't given Ugg the time of day until she saw that little cute wolf puppy on a little vine leash, and all of a sudden, Rhonda was all up in Ugg's business. And in no way was promoting polygamy, and even if I was, I think there were probably bigger problems in the pre-Cambrian era. So I tell you what, why don't you pack up your sticks and stones and go and hunter-gather your way somewhere else? Speaking of Cock's Crying Wolf, our final member today of the E-Memoriam, Bougie Buffet Snobs.
Uh-oh.
Some of you emailed us to talk trash about our bucket list field trip to the Golden Corral. We had a wonderful time and enjoyed ourselves, and some of your culinary cuckolds cried wolf after you just stood in the corner and watched the five of us take your beloved lunch to Pound Town. After we did the deed and went 16 plates deep, running a train that started at the cold bar, moved to the hot bar, and ended with soft serve all over everybody's smiling faces, you got jealous that you weren't American enough to get in on the action. Well, if you're too scared to swing, you don't get to put your keys in the bowl, because it's eyes wide shut down at the Golden Corral, baby. You don't get to put down your paper plate, wipe the pizza roll grease off your fingers onto the cushion of your futon, and then message us like you're Gordon goddamn Ramsay. Nobody rides a high horse into the barn of Golden Corral, player. That's like being a sommelier in a gas station complaining about the box wine selection. We know what that white Zen in a 5-gallon bag is, baby, and that's how we like it. If you're looking for gourmet at a place that has shrimp cocktail next to fried okra next to chicken gizzards, well, you might as well be searching for the long-lost chocolate fountain of youth. Don't be mad at us because we paid our $12.99 to get knee-deep in debauchery. Just climb back up on your high horse and ride it right out of our delicious little Golden Corral. Yeah! Get on out of here! It's about to be a big tone shift. So you guys know.
All right.
All right.
Now I'd like to get to real RIPs. I got a couple this week in there. Of course, this week we commemorated the 1-year anniversary of the departure of our beloved Jeff Burton. It's been a year since Jeff's been gone, and we honored him this week by hanging a plaque on the wall outside the studio. We all talked about him on Tuesday's podcast. We went to Golden Corral. I felt like he was there with us. He had a table reserved. It was really nice to see the manager do that. I think that everyone in this room, Jeff meant a lot to all of us. And I know that I consider it an honor to be sitting in the studio that he called home, as does Learn. And I think we consider it a privilege and an honor that we don't take lightly.
Real.
Our hearts go out to Jeff's family and all the fans out there. We know how much he meant to you. He meant just as much to us. So in honor of Jeff, pick up a hitchhiker. Move a turtle.
Yeah.
Pee in
Pee
the
in a
sink.
sink. Do something weird today. Because Jeff's smiling down. Peeing in sinks in heaven. Also, I lost a friend this week. Dana Michael Anderson was a friend of mine and a local musician. This is tough to talk about because it's not a fun thing to talk about on the air, but I think it's important. Dana lost a battle with depression, and sometimes we all know how that ends. People take their own lives. And he was a great musician. He was in the band Flat Wheel. He was a great solo artist. He played all over the St. Louis area, Stagger Inn and Edwardsville. He played the Broadway Oyster Bar here downtown. And I tried to gather words I wanted to say about Dana because he was a very good friend of mine, and we battled some of the same demons. And we had long, long talks about that. And I thought he'd come through the fire on a lot of that stuff. And it was a stark reminder that when it comes to the battle with depression or battle with substances and battles with things like that, not everybody makes it. And it made me grateful that I came out the other side. And I couldn't think of great words for it, so I actually pulled, his brother's a friend of mine, J.B. Anderson, who was a music producer here in town, so I just pulled a little excerpt from his Facebook, so I hope you'll indulge me to read that. My brother Dana Anderson is gone. He chose to leave us at a time when he seemed to finally start living, believing, and acting upon the life he so often wrote and sang about for decades. He'd appeared to finally be finding true happiness in our visibly shrinking family by realizing it was simply being replaced and expanded by the next generation of experiences and opportunities and people to love. He started to filter through, quote, friends and ended up landing on loyal relationships that valued empathy over reciprocity. Over the past 9 years, our small family from State Street started out as 5, unexpectedly became 3, then unimaginably 2, and now cruelly is down to 1. Dana leaves us having been to the literal edge via these losses and corresponding pain, witnessing the carnage that would be if he proceeded, turned back, and yet still succumbed to the fear and loathing that manifest in our experiences, as well as so many of his songs over the years. Dana's brother turned comments off intentionally on this post to spare himself the thoughts and prayers. And he encouraged instead, he said, what I would ask of you instead is take a little bit of time and energy you would spend typing here. Pick someone that you care about, especially someone that might be struggling, and message them. Tell them you're thinking about them. Tell them you're there for them. Offer to take them to lunch. Send them a joke or a selfie. Because Dana is gone. He won't hear you. I have an incredible wife, 3 amazing kids, a loving aunt, and an adopted sister, and in-laws that'll be there for me, whereas the person in need might not know they have anyone on their side. And they could probably use a simple, hi, I'm thinking about you right about now. So if you really need to express sympathy for Dana, listen to his music. That's all he ever wanted anyone to really do for him anyway. It was his gift to all of us, fully intended to last well beyond his cut short days. So that's what I would encourage everyone to do. If you've never heard of Dana Michael Anderson, go to Spotify, listen to his music. He was an excellent singer-songwriter and a really good friend, and he will be missed. And if you're battling depression or you're fighting a fight and you feel like you're alone, you're not, call somebody. Reach out, and that concludes this week's E-Memoriam.
Thank you, Rafe.
Rest in peace to your past.